So welcome everybody to our credential student panel. We're here with four of our credential students, Carter and Sarah, who are both first semester credential students, Garrett, who's a second semester, and Lionel, who's in his second year of the credential program. They're here to present on the CSUN Credential Program and student teaching on what this entails, and then also answer questions. So everybody, let's give it up for our credential panelists.
Sure. Hi everybody, my name is Carter, or as my students call me, Mr. Miller. Like I was introduced, this is my first semester of the credential program, so I have a lot of my memory of how I applied to the credential program. And maybe not much more, like Lionel may be able to answer what happens later on. But besides that, I am a swim teacher, and I'm a TA at Nobel Middle School, so it's a lot of fun getting experience learning how to teach.
What do you play, Carter?
I play all of them. I'm a music educator, so play all the instruments.
I'm Sarah. I'm in my first semester of the credential program, and I'm also the choral rep for anatomy still, and I still am in the choir, so you can still do ensembles even in the credential program, so if you're not, if you choose to. A lot of people don't, just because the workload is a little bit bigger, even though you're taking less classes. The classes are like heftier units. And I am hopefully going to teach choir, but I'm still open to teaching band because I play flute for the same amount of time, so it's always up in the air for me. And yeah, and I've been in like band at CSUN here, and I've also done the choirs here. So yeah.
Hi all, I'm Garrett. I graduated with my undergrad from here as well as a music education major, like a lot of you might be. It was music education choral emphasis, so I'm a choir person. I sang in choirs here, I've sung in choirs my whole life, and I'm student teaching a choir right now at Monroe High School. You might know of it, down the street. But since I went to CSUN for my undergrad and I'm now in the CSUN Credential Program, there is a lot of overlap and shortcuts and things you can do as a CSUN undergraduate student applying to the CSUN Credential Program that we're going to talk about. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
Hello, my name is Lionel. I'm second year in the Credential Program. I play both the trumpet and the oboe with the violin. So I'll be speaking more, as Carter mentioned, what happens in the later stages of the Credential Program, and also if you would be interested in being in the intern program, which means you'll be paid as a real teacher rather than student teaching. And there's a lot of pros and cons, so I'll be speaking about those things.
Okay, we're starting off with the university application. And for this, when you're a CSUN undergrad student, you have to reapply, unfortunately. And it's through Cal State Apply, so it's kind of the same process you did to apply to go to CSUN, but it's a little bit different, and they kind of walk you through it as long as you follow what's on. And there should be some handouts for you guys to be looking at.
Oh, where'd you put them down?
Oh.
Sorry.
Got handouts for you guys. And it has all the information on the slides. And this basically has like a summary of the entire slideshow. And it is $70 to apply for the credential program, unfortunately. So there is a lot of paying through the application process. We're going to be talking about that a little bit. But you don't have to do your transcripts if you're a CSUN student, so that's probably one of the best things. You don't have to worry about your transcripts as long as you tell them that you're a CSUN undergrad. They might give you a hard time about it, and if they do, you'll get assigned an analyst, and they'll help you out through that process. You just tell them, hey, I graduated from CSUN in my undergrad, and then tell them, like, I don't think I need my transcripts, is this correct? And then they should fix it if you have any problems with that. Do you want to talk about the actual credential program itself, the application?
Yeah. This is the exact same thing.
Yeah,
So,
all of the things.
credential application. Okay. So it says here single subject, but I think, well, can we also talk about multiple subjects?
Yeah, I'm just
okay.
saying that like a lot of this stuff pertains to single subject music, but we can talk about multiple subject too. Because single subject, if you apply for single subject, that's at the secondary level, so middle school or high school. And a lot of times that's if you're just teaching a music class at that level, and that would be your single subject. But you could also apply multiple subject, which is often elementary. You could be either like an elementary music teacher who travels around, or you can just be an elementary teacher who teaches multiple subjects. I just said single subject because like my student teaching experience that I'm going to talk about later in the presentation pertains to the single subject track. Yes, we can talk about both. Yeah, sure.
So single subject, as you said one more time, it's middle school and high school. You're not one of those teachers where they come in for English, math, arts, history, all that stuff. You're just teaching music, yes. Subject matter requirement, sorry, show me order. If you are in music education through CSUN or through, I think, any college, right?
It's a little harder
Yeah.
for other
It's a little harder for other
universities, but for us it was easy.
As a CSUN student, as I'm assuming you guys are, as long as you're getting that music education degree, that is your requirement for subject matter. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? Now, there are people that want to be music teachers that didn't get a music education degree. Do we want to answer questions after?
And let's take questions at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe there's some sort of test you can take, right, to prove
Yeah,
CSET.
the CSET and the CBEST.
And is that later on?
That does happen later on.
Okay.
We can touch upon it. There are ways to do it, but the only one, like by virtue, you don't have to take a test guaranteed if you are a CSUN graduate with a music education degree.
And we're like one of the only majors that allows that. It's like us, and there's like one or two other ones they talked about in the interview, but they said like for the most part, every subject has to take it, so we're very fortunate that they changed the requirements, because we do work so hard in our undergrad, and we take all the methods courses, so it's almost like, yay, we get to actually get it like approved, and we don't have to worry about it taking a test, and it does cost money, I think, too.
The next two, fingerprint and tuberculosis. These are the things that you kind of have to take action on. They give you a deadline, I believe, for the fall semester, it was July 1st. And that's when you're submitting everything. Everything has to be done by then. There's another woman that I spoke to, Anna Paula. She gets this stuff done early. Your fingerprint clearance, I don't think there's a limit to how early you can do it. Is it?
It depends. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to stress everybody out.
Okay.
But if it's an LUSD, it has to be within 6 months before you start.
6 months. You have 6 months. Yeah.
But either way, it's still always good to get it done early.
It's always better to get it done. Same thing with your tuberculosis test. So, basically across the school, it's called the CLOTS, let me make sure I got it right. CLOTS Health Center. You can pay $5 through your student account to get what's called a TB test. They poke your arm right here. You come to exactly 48 hours later, or 2 days later, around the same 20 minutes area, and they look at your arm again. Hopefully none of us here test positive for TB. They sign the thing, and you're good. That's what you submit. It's as simple as you doing it. You actually just have to go out and do it. If you're the kind of person like, I'll do the next thing. You're just not going to do it. You want to do early Phillips?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about the live scan too. So you can do it at a couple places. You can do it at the police station here. You can also do it, I did it at the place it's right across like B3. It's in the parking lot with like Sugar Fix Boba, if you guys know where that is. It's called A1 Live Notary, Scan Notary, and I did it there. It was really easy. It is a little bit expensive. It's $70 for your live scan, and that's why you want to make sure you do it within the time frame where you're going to start student teaching, so you don't have to re-get another live scan. Because I was in a situation where I had to get it from my job because I teach private lessons, so I had to get 2 live scans, and luckily one was paid for. But it is expensive, and you have to do it for each place that you're going to get it for. It's not like one live scan covers everything. If an institution asks you for a specific live scan, you're going to have to get multiple of those. So yeah.
And that goes hand in hand with what's called a certificate of clearance application. We're not doing questions. What does the CTC stand for?
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but we do cover each one of these criteria
Oh.
in their own individual slides. So we can just like briefly touch upon each of them right now,
Okay.
but just to save time.
Got it. Thank you for letting me know. I
Yeah.
didn't know they had their individual slides.
Here we go. Their certificate of clearance through the CTC.
Now, they told us what the CTC means, but I totally forgot. What is it?
It's
California?
teacher
like
credential.
Commission for Teacher Credential.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And effectively, you're gonna go online, you're gonna sign up, you're gonna do the whole thing, SSN and whatnot. They're gonna be like, did you get your live scan done? You're probably gonna say no, because you haven't done it yet. And once you do it, they're like, okay, you're cool. We reviewed you, hopefully you're cool. You pay the $55 and you're now certificated, right?
Yeah, I will say, that sounds like kind of a lot right now, but when you do go onto the actual website for the credential application, they outline this whole process, like, step by step, super clearly, and you do it in that exact order. Like, don't deviate from the order, don't reinvent the wheel, like, they make it really simple. Get your live scan, go to the place first, have them scan your finger, and then once they send you that went through, then you can do the CTC. And you just gotta put some information in, but they line it up in such a way that it all goes one thing fluidly into the next.
Well, I did it the wrong way, and I still got in, so I guess we're good.
Yeah, that's okay.
So you are paying $70 plus $55 plus the $5 and the credential application fee, which I don't remember how much that was. $70. So it
adds up.
it's like a bulk payment, but it will be worth it in the end, guys. We're almost there.
Yeah.
And then we have the TB test, which we already talked about. You can get it at the health center. I recommend that. It's the easiest place to get it unless you want to go to your own insurance. Of course, that's fine as well. And then we also have the early field experience form. We are very fortunate that Widener will sign off on this for us as long as you did do the music education courses in your undergrad. And if you weren't able to get this form signed by Widener for whatever reason, then you would have to basically accumulate your own hours of teaching experience, and it would have to be within, I think it was 2 years of applying for the credential program. Yeah, past couple years. So if you're like doing anything outside of school too, you can always use that for your early experience.
Yeah, so like for example, for me, I'm a swim teacher. Like I said, it's 1,400 hours, and they assign it's just your work schedule.
Yeah, and I think how many did you take? 40 hours?
These
So,
45.
yeah, it's not like
And I think it's for the past 5 years.
it's not that many hours. Like if you really think about it, it's like a couple hours a week for like a couple months. So, and we do our observations in our undergrads, you guys.
Yeah,
We're covered.
that's the point, is if you do the music education courses, if you do the observations for string methods, woodwind methods, all those classes, 266. I know it's a lot of observations right now, you're probably looking at it and thinking, oh my goodness, but that's what it's for. So if you do your credential year, you don't have to worry about that, it's covered. So that's what I was saying at the very beginning. So much of what you do as a music education major here in your undergraduate prepares you directly for this application process and saves you a lot of time.
Next, we have our statement of objectives, and this is the essay that you're going to submit to them when you apply. And it's not that complicated. They make it pretty easy and they give you questions. I think these are still the questions, and it's nice to have them so you can kind of brainstorm. I basically used my teaching philosophy, which you write like your first one in 266, and then your final semester you're going to take 474 or choral methods if they offer it, and that's the like capstone class that we have. It's our, what would you consider that, like a like a
I
capstone
don't know, like
class? It's like the final, like the class you need to graduate.
Cumulative.
Yeah, so in that class, you're gonna be writing another personal philosophy like at the very end of the entire class, and I basically use that as my like starting point, and then I incorporated these questions into it. So you'll basically almost have it done by the time you go to apply for the credential. So yeah, we just cover like, why do you want to be a teacher, what do you plan to contribute to the profession, and what do you plan to achieve as a teacher. So it should be things that you're already like kind of thinking about. And you'd be surprised in my interview process, a lot of people didn't do an education pathway in their undergrad, and they expressed like how this application was a little stressful for them and they didn't really know like what to put for these questions. So we're fortunate that we're able to like think of these ahead of time. And then recommendation forms.
Oh, this is where I had trouble, guys. Guys, I almost didn't get into the credential program because of this. When I saw recommendation forms, I thought that the professors I was going to talk to had to send them a letter of recommendation. It is not a letter of recommendation. I spent like 3 weeks in peril trying to figure out what to do. So from what I understand, you tell, it's Cal State Apply, right? No, it's
It's in the credential application.
credential
At the
application.
very end, it's like the last thing you fill out. It's like, who do you want us to send the recommendation forms to?
Yes.
So think about that your entire last semester.
Yeah, you gotta ask your references, figure out who your references are, ask them early. Because you wanna give them time, because you never know how long it's gonna take them or how long it's gonna take you. So figure out who you wanna ask for your references. And then when you fill out the credential application, do that early too. Because you have to finish that and get to the end where it asks for your references in order for your references to actually get the link to these forms. They won't get that until you fill out your application. So if you fill out your application the week before it's due, they're not gonna be able to fill out your recommendation until the week before it's due, which they might not wanna do.
That's what happened with me.
Yeah.
I did mine about 2 weeks before, and they didn't send the email in time, or they didn't email the professors in time. So I tried to get them to do it, and then I'm like, well, they sent, because you can find the form online, by the way. I said, they sent you a form. They're like, we didn't get a form. And then, so I went like a couple days over July 1st.
Well, it was
Try to
a
get
hard
that.
process for me too, and I submitted my application, I don't know, like 2 months ahead of time. I did it like the beginning of May, I think, or I think I finished it, I was just waiting to finish it, and then I did it like right when I graduated. And my teachers, both of them, did not receive the form that they were supposed to, so I kept having to reach out to the credential office and say, hey, they haven't gotten the form, and they're like, oh no. And then I'm like, hey, they still haven't gotten the form, and then they told me, okay, go ahead and just send them the form that's, like if you just search up, letter of recommendation form for, CSUN, it'll come up, and then you just send them that, and then they had to email it to the credential office themselves, and they still weren't receiving one of them, so then I had to keep calling and talking to people, so it can be stressful, so get it done early. Do it as soon as, I would say, May hits, so you have 2 months of like, okay, they have time to do it, because a lot of teachers, as soon as summer starts, you know, they wanna have a vacation, so you wanna make sure you're asking them ahead of time too, so they're prepared to write it, and it's not that hard. The form itself is actually like, do you think they'll be a good teacher, things like that.
It's
It's
like
pretty
yes or no
easy, it's literally
questions.
yes or no questions, and like, what do you overall think of this person, like a sentence. So it's not super long, and it actually shouldn't be too hard for them to fill out, so I would pick like 2. I asked 4 people just in case. So I had like my top 2, and then I asked another 2 professors that I was like, okay, if someone falls through, I have a backup. So always ask more than you actually need, and they should be understanding. Say, hey, I'm just asking just in case another person falls through, would you be willing to do this for me? And if you were kind to your teachers in your undergrad, they're more than happy to help you with this process. For myself, I had a few professors from here do it, and a professor from my community college. And then next we have CPR certification. I did it at the SRC here. It's in person. I prefer that because you never know. When you're a teacher, you very well might need to use CPR, and I wanted the hands-on experience to actually get it done. And it was a 1-day class. It lasted like, I don't know, I think it was like 5 or 6 hours, and they give you a lunch break, and it was $57, so it is a little bit pricey. Oh, sorry. It was a little bit pricey, but it was definitely worth it, I would say. And at the very end of the course, you take an actual test, and they bring you in a room, and they put a couple of the dummies on the floor, and you have to do like the baby and the like regular adult, and then they make you go around and like do a real situation, like if someone were actually like going into like having a heart attack or anything. So yeah, it was definitely a good experience, because you never know, your students could have any sort of health issues, and we want to be able to support them. So I recommend that, but you can also do online, which I think Garrett did.
Yes.
Online course, it's cheaper.
It's
and
cheap,
hopefully
it's
easier.
efficient in that if you're really busy and you don't have time to get out for an in-person class, like Sarah said, I can't recommend the in-person class enough. I'm sure it's a lot better for practical use, but if you're going for just like trying to be efficient, you have a lot going on, the online class is pretty thorough. There are a lot of videos and very like good demonstrations and everything, and it still gets the job done. You still get the same certification. It's just as valid as the in-person
Yeah,
class.
and the SRC, they cover it's the same videos, so you're actually watching the same things. They just give you live demonstrations of each thing. So it's the same thing. It's not like any different. And do try to get this done ahead of time as well. Get any of the things that you need to get done, the TB test, all of those things, get them done at least a month or two before it's due, because it takes about, I think, a week or two to receive the certificate for your CPR, and then it also takes a couple days for the TB test, and then the live scan can take up to 2 weeks, but I think I got it within a week, so it wasn't that long. Now we have basic skills requirement. You wanna talk about that one?
Yeah, so basically this one means like, it's basic skills. And a lot of this is covered by GEs here at CSUN. So if you take the right GE classes, I think one of them is like your poli-sci requirement for your GE, that's covered by your CSUN coursework. So you don't have to take any extra tests if you pass all of your GEs here at CSUN and you apply to the program here.
Is that general education?
Yeah, general education
You
classes.
did it already in
Your
in
community
college or
college
something?
would also cover that. If the course is transferable, I would imagine it would be the same. But this is where the CBEST, the CSET, those sort of tests come into play. If for whatever reason you didn't take this GE coursework, or if you took something else that was qualified for your college but maybe doesn't for this credential program, you could take the CBEST or the CSET to get this basic skills requirement. That's another thing. I don't know a lot about the process of taking these because mine was covered, but I would imagine if you do have to take these tests, you would want to do that pretty early on. So if you, for whatever reason, don't pass, you have time to take it, you have time to get it verified and confirmed, get your appointment for the actual test scheduled, all that. But like I said, if you take GEs here, you're probably not going to worry about that.
Yeah, in most community colleges, they transfer over. There are a couple general eds that you have to take at CSUN. Like even if you transfer to community college, it's like 3 general eds, I think. So, but those are upper division general eds, so you don't take those until you're sure you're a senior year. And then we have the group interview is next. This was actually so fun. Okay, I was really stressed going into it. But you're assigned a teacher, and then you have people from all sorts of subject matters. It's not just music. It's like math, science, history, and basically the group interview was just like, why do you want to be a teacher? Like, it was essentially the questions from the essay that you have to write, but on a Zoom. So it was very, like, my professor was really cool. He actually teaches I can't remember, it's one of the courses. He was an older guy.
Did you have fun?
Yes,
Yeah,
he was so
like
nice. He
content
was so
literacy.
nice.
Yeah.
And he was like, guys, don't be scared. This is like, you guys are all gonna be amazing teachers. And at the end, they'll just check off that you like passed the interview, but it's not a scary process. And then you might also get the head of the credential program for the music, which is Reddy. So yeah, she's amazing too. It's not scary. And that's after you get was it after you get accepted?
That's after that's the last thing that happens. So you submit your application, you finished everything, you're not accepted yet, but that is the last thing that happens right before you get your acceptance. So that's like at the very end, once everything is done, once you get your link to like, here's your link to set up your appointment for your interview, that's like the last thing. So
Yeah. I think like 2 days after the interview, I got in. And you can also get an acceptance from CSUN separate from the actual credential program. So, yeah, then we have the program pathways. There's different programs that you can choose. I'm personally doing the 3-semester one, hopefully. If I have to do the 2-year one, I will. But right now I'm on the track for 3 semesters, which means I'm taking just classes this semester, and then next semester I'll start student teaching, and then it'll be a year of student teaching. 1 semester middle school, 1 semester high school. And yeah, and you're taking classes simultaneously. The 2-semester is a little more recommended by the actual credential people. They tell you to take the 2-year because then you can take like a bulk of the classes before your student teaching, if not all of them. So it's less stressful. And if you have the time and the resources and the financial means to do the 2-year program, I would probably recommend that. I just chose 3 years because 3 semesters because my mom's like, please get out of school right now.
So just to be exactly clear, she's saying 3 semesters or 2 years, as in 4 semesters.
Yeah.
The last 2 semesters, whether you choose, I didn't even know you could do just 2 semesters.
you can do 2 semesters.
That's not.
It's
Not
yeah,
recommended.
I don't
I
recommend
know one
that.
person who did it, and she was kind of miserable the whole
Because
time.
that's the
Yeah.
ACT pathway.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you're basically taking all of your classes for the whole credential program in 2 semesters, plus student teaching the whole time.
So whichever of the traditional 2, 3, or 4, the last 2 semesters are student teaching.
Yeah.
So in Sarah's example, the first semester is classes, the last 2 is teaching. In my example, I'm doing 2 years, 4 semesters. The first 2 classes, the last 2 is the student teaching.
There's the intern one, which Lionel is in
Talk about
currently.
later.
Yeah, that one's 2 years. I don't know much about it, but that's when you get paid to teach. And then there's also ACT, and that's the year one. And they tell you, like in the interview, we do not recommend this. We do not recommend this. Please do not do this. Because I think they probably have a lot of people that just can't do it because it's a lot of work. Even though you're only taking, like right now I'm taking 4 classes and I'm following like the exact credential pathway, the workload of those 4 classes is like the equivalency of taking like I would say 8 or 9 classes, which you usually do as a music education major. So yeah, I recommend 3 or 4 semesters.
Alright, I'm gonna talk about student teaching, since I'm student teaching right now. So to clarify, I'm gonna go back really quickly, just to show the pathway that I'm on. I'm doing the traditional pathway, just like Sarah, I'm doing it in 3 semesters. So last semester was my first semester, that was just classes. And then the next 2 semesters are student teaching. So this is my first semester of student teaching right now, plus classes. So let me clarify first by saying that when you have your 2 semesters of student teaching, those are at 2 different schools. So you're gonna teach at one school for 1 semester, and then you're gonna teach at another school for another semester. And Sarah said this earlier, but if you're doing a single subject secondary level credential, you're gonna do 1 middle school and 1 high school, just so you get the full breadth of experience. Student teaching requires its own application. So after you get into the credential program, you have to do another application to student teach. And if you want to teach in LAUSD based on where you live, you have to basically do everything again. This is new, but when you start student teaching and you have to do the application for an LAUSD school, they make you do your live scan again. They make you do your TB test again. It doesn't matter if you just did it to get into the program. LAUSD wants you to do it all again through their stuff, so it's in their system. It's extra stuff to do, but I just want to let you all know now because that came as a surprise to me this summer. But just keep that in mind. When you're student teaching, what you're doing is you're preparing to take the EdTPA. And the EdTPA is like the big final test you take before you get your teaching credential. It's like the bar test before you become a lawyer. So basically what that is, it's like you do some video recordings, you do some lesson plan submissions, just so the Commission for Teacher Credentialing is able to see that you are competent in teaching, that you're able to meet standards, that you're able to do all the things you need to do to get your credential. And I'll talk a little bit more about how that looks in each semester of student teaching. For each semester of student teaching, you have a seminar class at CSUN that you register in. Basically what that is once a week you'll go in for a class with all the other student teachers in your subject. You'll be able to talk about preparing for the EdTPA, you'll be able to debrief about your day teaching. That's just like a class that comes with it. Also, very important to note, when you're student teaching, the calendars that you follow become 2. You have to follow the CSUN semester calendar, so whenever CSUN classes start and end and have breaks, and the calendar for wherever school you're at. So if you teach an LAUSD school and they start, like this year they started on the 14th and CSUN started on the 25th. You start on the 14th. You do not start teaching when CSUN starts. You start when LAUSD starts. You start when the district starts. So that basically means you don't get a lot of breaks. Because if CSUN has spring break at 1 week where your school district doesn't have a spring break, you're teaching still. And when your school district has spring break, CSUN classes are going to be back in session. So that is a little unfortunate, but it's something to prepare for. Go to the next slide. So this is a breakdown. If you do the 2 semester students teaching plan, this is what both semesters are going to look like. I'm in my first semester right now, so this is what I'm doing every day. You're at your school site for at least 2 periods a day. And one of those periods, you're going to be pretty much just observing the whole time. You can take notes, you can just watch, sit back, maybe ease into like helping the teacher out with some tasks or providing like one-on-one assistance for some of the students. That one you're taking a little bit more of a back seat. And then the second period, that one you're going to gradually take over. So at the beginning of the semester, you're going to be mostly observing, but as the semester goes on, for that second class, you're going to start teaching it. And so your mentor teacher will work with you and figure out where you're at, but eventually it'll be like, okay, you're gonna take over and teach this whole class today. You're gonna do it 2 days this week, you're gonna do it 3 days this week. You're gonna start writing lesson plans for this class. And then by the end of the semester, it's all but your class. So that's something to keep in mind. Whereas for your second semester, you are at your school for at least 3 periods. You're teaching 2 of those classes. Those are like basically your classes. You're in charge of planning an entire semester for those classes. You're in charge of running the class. The mentor teacher is pretty much out of the picture. They're gonna help you, but that's your class. You have a lot more say in what you do, how you plan it, what you expect of the students. And then the third one is more of an observation, but it's a lot more intense. There's more expected of you. Semester 1, you're completing something called a FRED. And basically what that is a practice version of the EdTPA. So where the EdTPA, you're gonna submit multiple videos of you teaching. You're gonna submit multiple lesson plans. You're gonna submit a whole unit. You're gonna create a unit, which is basically like a course plan of education for your class. Like if you wanna do a unit on like dynamics, you have to plan multiple lessons about how to teach dynamics to your class. But for the first one, the FRED, it's just one video, it's one lesson, it's a lot lower stakes. Just so to get you used to using the correct language and the correct formatting for the EdTPA. So when you get to it, you're not super overwhelmed. It's not like you have no idea what they're looking for. You're gonna get really good feedback on your EdTPA. So when you do, your FRED, so when you do the EdTPA, you kind of know what to go for. That's about all for student teaching. The regular, like the traditional program. There's also the intern program, and that's what Lionel is doing, so I'm gonna pass that along to him.
Alright, so intern program, as before, is 2 years. It's almost the exact same course load as being the traditional, but instead of being student teaching where you go teach for free, you are paid as an actual teacher, a salaried teacher. So for example, salary schedule for first year teacher is $58,000, around there. So instead of being a student teacher, you go in right away, get paid as a full teacher. Big downside, you're the only teacher in that school. You're the only music teacher in that school, probably. So you're not gonna have a mentor teacher around, like how you would in student teaching, where that teacher will help you out. You're basically on your own, yo-yo. So it is very daunting, but you'll still have a mentor teacher. It's just someone within that school district that will meet with you once a week, be like, how's it going? How many times have you cried this week? Like, what lessons have you done today or this week? And yeah, you will still have a supervisor, so it could be like Whitener, Meridian, or some others, many others that will come by and visit you, be like, oh yeah, that's good, or like, oh, that's pretty bad. So intern is very enticing if you already have teaching experience. Like for example, like Carter, he's currently a teacher assistant at a middle school. With that kind of experience, you could go into interning because you know what it's like, or maybe you've already volunteered at a school for a while. I don't recommend to go in cold turkey without experience because you will get destroyed. Because more likely not, if you intern somewhere that gives you the opportunity to intern, it's probably you're not going to inherit a good program. It might be a program that is on and off, or there's a lot to it. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I am currently an intern at a dual immersion school where I have to teach mariachi and general music. So I am teaching elementary schoolers, even though I was only planning on teaching middle schoolers. So I have middle schoolers, but now I have second graders as well. So pay attention in that class with Sermani.
Yes, it's a great process.
Yeah, I would be screwed about it. Okay, yeah, so intern program, very enticing. But now I'm gonna show you a little bit the differences. So I'm gonna stand up for this. So like these are the classes you need to take for the credential program. But there's some classes that this is like tips and tricks. So when you become an intern, okay, well for that, the process of becoming an intern, you have to apply to a school, right? A school district that is accepting interns. You cannot just randomly apply to a school and be like, hey, can I work there? They're like, what's an intern? They need to know what an intern is. How I did it, I went through EdJoin. I put a link right here. Through EdJoin right here. And I just looked through schools like music somewhere within 50 miles. And there's a lot of applications, a lot of private stuff, but you want to find one that says intern eligible. That way, it's letting you know that that district does do internships. They understand the process. Because if it's not, then it might not count towards your credential and things will not work out in your favor. And they probably won't even be able to hire you in the first place. So what will happen is that once you do find a job, they like you, do the interview process and all that, and your credential stuff is good, they will give you an emergency credential, which lasts for 1 year. So if you do not get your credential by the end of it, then you're kind of screwed. Because now you have to go back to student teaching and you just wasted a year of not getting your credential. So, I mean, I guess you got a salary for a year. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. So, little tips and tricks. So, there are some things on here, like of course, take all your courses that you're supposed to. But there is an order that you should do it if you want to intern. 529, this one right here, teaching English learners. This one has to be taken before you become an intern. If you did not take it when you apply to be an intern, they'll tell you you need it. Take this asynchronous summer course, it'll cost you $500. You do it, and it's basically the same. It's basically the same content as this. You take it, you pass it, it doesn't count towards that. So you still have to take this course. So if you are thinking of interning, like you have experience and all that, take that as soon as possible. And do not wait to register. If you are able to take that course, take it immediately if you want to intern. Or else you'll be out $500 and you still have to take the course. Another thing is that, so like how I mentioned earlier, I am teaching elementary schoolers. I am single subject. So I did not take anything related to elementary. So they have situations for this. You're not going to get kicked out for having that. What they'll make you do is take an extra class for elementary. But I saw in the fine print that either I can take that extra class to teach elementary, or, where is it? Take this class. But then here's the catch. If you already took it, it doesn't count. So if you're planning on interning and you're not sure, like what if you're paired with elementary schoolers, because if you're paired with elementary schoolers, they make you take the extra class. So if you don't want to risk that, hold off on taking this course until you're interning and know for sure what you're doing, because if you have elementary schoolers, you can just take that course and it'll count towards it. The reason why, they're basically the same course. It's just that one is geared more towards elementary, but they're basically the same thing, same content. So yeah, that would be the order to take that. And everything else with the intern program, same thing. You still have to take the 554 seminar, and you share it with the student teachers. So like I'm with Garret in that class right now. So we say hi to each other. We haven't yet, but every time I look at you, you're looking away. Yeah.
Okay, we're K through 12 certified once you get your credential. Like, so you can teach elementary school. So I do recommend, because you can choose like, I think you could do the elementary pathway or the secondary, right? And like, they tell you to do
Yeah.
secondary.
Yeah, if you're single subject, you can teach elementary school if you want. But I think if you choose multi, you cannot.
Yeah, so you have, like basically, if you think you might want to teach middle school or high school, go with the single subject because you will be K through 12 certified. If you do it the other way around, you won't be able to do middle school or high school without having to go through more school. Oops.
And just to be clear, an emergency credential is because LAUSD is in need of teachers. So it's not just music. I mean, music is a really good example. We need music teachers, but they offer emergency credentials in general because they need teachers. So like in the class that we're in, even though it's our first semester, there are people with their emergency credential or some sort of name holder that gets them to teach classes now, even though they're also not credentialed as well.
Okay. A little bit backtracking. Like if you want to intern, I would recommend during because I'm doing 2 years, right? Because that's what interns need to do. So first semester, I bulked up in my classes. Second semester, I bulked up in my classes because you don't want to be taking a lot of units while you're interning. You're the full-time teacher at a location by yourself. You want to have not many classes. During your second semester, so the semester before you're thinking of being an intern, that's when you start applying to jobs. And I recommend EdJoin, but if you find somewhere else, you can do it. You apply, you interview. Once they say yeah, you got the job, that's when you contact the intern coordinator. It's probably on the CSUN website of who's the coordinator. They just changed who it is. I think the person's name is Tay Chang. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the new intern coordinator. You'd be like, oh, I just got hired at this location. Can I switch my traditional pathway to intern? So no one just starts as an intern. They start as a traditional pathway person. And then they go into intern by getting hired somewhere. You ask the coordinator, can I switch? And they give you like a 20 million page document. Be like, okay, we need to go through all these steps. But if you take a lot of courses early, but in the order that I recommended, then you've already passed most of the requirements. And then you just need to know the course load of what you'll be teaching. So exactly what you'll be teaching. Like for example, for me, I'm teaching beginning mariachi, intermediate mariachi, advanced mariachi, and then 4 general music classes. And I say how many students in each one, and there you go. That'll be the course load. And I think from there you have to get a lot of paperwork done, and you have to send that paperwork. They send the paperwork back to you, then you send it to someone else, then you send it to Credential Program, then they send it back to you, then you send it to someone else, they give it back to you, then you finally send it back to the Credential Program. It's all outlined in a 20 million document paper, step by step, everything. It even warns you, you have to do it in this order. Do not do anything else. Do not skip this. So it's very intuitive, it's easy. It's just like Christopher Brink, because he has to read that document carefully. So yeah, once you finish the document, you go to the CTC website to, the university will recommend you for an intern credential. So that's like your teaching credential for an intern. It's like an asterisk, intern. And that is when you're finally an intern and you enter the program officially. But it's very scary up until then because like you're hired, so you can't student teach. So like imagine you're hired to be an intern, you can't student teach during that time. So if it doesn't work out, then that internship will not count towards your credential and it won't work out. So you need to have everything on time, early, as quick as possible. If you have to send something, send it immediately. It's a lot of back and forth. But if you really need the finances, you have experience, you think you can handle it, I recommend you do it. But don't recommend it if you've never taught before or have seen a program go recently. If you want experience, volunteer somewhere. I'm sure any one of these middle schools and high schools would love someone to come and volunteer, and you can come once a week or something and then you learn things. I think that's the end of that
The
one.
last slide is questions. So, yeah, and I think we're right about a great time to start
Oh, yeah,
answering
very good time, actually.
questions. So now's your chance. If you have questions, fire away, and we will do our best to answer them in a way that is concise and efficient.
So that was the first question. I'm sorry, what's your name?
My name is Ethan, and for some context, I'm on a interesting path. So I believe Nicole Hovland told me I'm the first jazz performance major to want to do all of the music ed course load. So I'm jazz major doing all the music ed course load. And I'm wondering if the benefits that you guys reap as being actually having the degree applies to me, because I will have taken all of the course load.
Yes, because there's many people who are doing performance and education courses, like probably I would say like 50-50 of the people in the classes are doing
Okay.
that. So it's pretty common, just not like a jazz specific, but we do even have like I think Felix's jazz like education or jazz
Yeah.
emphasis.
Him and Tyler like jazz emphasis. It's a weird pathway.
But I just want to clarify, so it's like the music ed, so there are classical performance majors who don't get the degree, but are taking all of, okay, cool.
Yeah, so that covers the subject matter.
Yes.
They just wanna make sure you're taking classes, like the methods courses and things.
Yeah,
Because
it's like
other
John's
schools don't
doing
have
that.
Yeah, I'm currently doing that right now. I'm a credit performance major, and I'm currently taking all the music ed courses.
Jazz, jazz.
No, classical.
Okay, cool,
And
thanks.
like, yeah, it's just sometimes it's you don't have a life though.
Yeah.
It's true, I already don't, I just transferred here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a lot. My fiance's also doing that, and so is Wylan. I think you're doing that, right?
No, I'm
You're
just ed.
strictly ed. I know, like, there's a ton of people that did performance. Melia did that. Colin's doing that. Many people. Yes,
Yeah, I'm kind of confused. Is it required to have the credentials with CSUN or how does that work?
No, you can
I'm
get
very confused about how this whole system works.
Yeah, you can get a credential at any university that offers it. We just recommend going through CSUN because it's a simple process when you did your undergraduate degree. So like for example,
Undergraduate means you already graduated?
no,
or
undergraduate
you
degree is your
still on
bachelor's degree. So once you finish
Okay.
your bachelor's, that's when you can apply for the credential. You could do, there's a way actually.
So after the bachelor,
So you
Yeah.
need,
After
you
the
need a
bachelor,
credential in order to teach in public schools in California.
yes, but I don't know if I'm even going to teach in California because I might even just go back to Europe, so I'm not sure if I should be doing it or not.
Having a teaching credential in California is like a big advantage because it might count towards a lot in other countries because it really does for the rest of the United States. Because like if you have a credential here, you can go to another state
I see.
and it's like some paperwork, maybe you need to take like a little quick training and you can teach there. So I think having a credential in California will probably translate a lot into Europe if going back there. You probably have to do like some extra stuff, but it'll probably be beneficial.
Yeah, I think we have
Okay,
like
that's
the.
Probably the best
because
credential to get statewide.
California has like the
Yeah.
hardest
Yes.
expectations and
Yes.
requirements, so once you do that, going to another state that doesn't have as many expectations.
You're gonna be ahead of the game.
That sounds good.
Sounds like Sean wants to say
And
something.
the traditional way is you would be getting more experience how to teach, and in the intern way is that
If you already have experience.
you
You're
have
pretty
already
much just thrown out
Yeah.
into it, right?
Okay, and when would be a good time to start with it during
Like start the application or start the credential program?
both?
I would say to start your application, let me just get this out of the way right now. Don't worry, I wanted to talk about it anyway. It's a good segment. Yeah. When you're starting your application, the handout that you have, that's like exactly what you need to do step by step. Do it like literally in that order. I would do everything that requires a certification and an appointment first. So get your live scan done, like maybe 2 months, if not more, before the due date. Get your TB done 2 months plus. Get your CPR done 2 months plus. Then worry about the Cal State Apply and the application and the essay and all that. That you need to do last. Yeah,
What is the live scan about, just about me demonstrating teaching?
No,
the
a live
live
scan's
scan is the
fingerprints.
fingerprints.
So that's just to make sure that you're not a criminal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
as long as you haven't committed any crimes, you should be good.
It's just a
Or like,
formality.
yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I had a question about the recommendation forms. Like, does that have to be a professor, or can it be somebody like at a school I work at? Like, can it be like the
Totally.
band director there?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be a professional though, so they can't just be like a family member or a
No.
friend. It
Oh,
has to be
okay.
a
So it's like
professional.
somebody
Someone that
that's
you've worked
teaching.
with in a
Yeah.
professional
It'll tell you that too.
environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it doesn't have to be like a professor, if you like worked with someone, that would be a great recommendation.
Because it did specifically say like no friends, no family, it has to be
The
someone.
language it uses is that it's some individual who is aware of and can vouch for your ability to work with kids, with students. So if that's somebody you worked with, then that's a great person for a recommendation.
Thank you.
Just a thing on like the length of the 3-semester credential, I'm trying to see if I wanna throw on like a performance major, which would have to like add another semester for me, but that means I'd be graduating in the fall. Is there like a more advantageous time to like finish your credential, especially if you're doing like a 3-semester, like is it easier to get a job after you graduate in the spring versus the fall?
There's no wrong way, I'll tell you that, but it is convenient. Like the way it ended up happening for me is I started the credential program in the spring. So I'm doing 3 semesters. So my first semester was spring, and then this year I'm student teaching this semester and next semester. What that means is that theoretically, if I finish next semester, next academic year, if I get a job, I can start teaching at the beginning of that academic year. So there's no weird like in-between period where you can't get a job and start at a school in the middle of the academic year, you know? So if you start in the spring and you do 3 semesters like I did, you can start applying for jobs during your 3rd semester, contingent upon the fact that you pass your TPA and you finish your credential and all that. So that way, as soon as you finish, you have that summer, and then that next academic year, you already have a job lined up. So that I would say is probably one of the more convenient ways. But if you don't do that, it's not like it's game over. Like you'll be fine.
It's the same thing with 2 years or 4 semesters.
Yeah.
Basically, you want to start when the school year starts. There's not too many schools out there looking for teachers halfway into the school year.
Yeah.
That's basically what it's saying.
Sorry, there's a question behind you.
Oh, she raised her hand before me.
Go ahead. You can't already take the credential course once you're applying it during the school semester or right before you graduate.
There is intent to apply, that's a different pathway that we actually didn't talk about. I think one person that I know personally did it, it's where you're in the credential program simultaneously finishing undergrad. Don't know much.
Not quite, so intent to apply just means your foot is in there just to take some of the few classes that's in the credential program, but you're not in the credential program, you still need to apply. So in case for the intent to apply, that is when like, let's say you're almost done with your bachelor's, but you forgot one class. So now you need to stay 1 extra semester just to take that 1 or 2 classes. That means you can do intent to apply so that you can start taking some credential courses while you finish your bachelor's. So that's like, if like, uh-oh, I messed up. I don't want to waste an entire semester because I forgot that 1 class, brass methods or something, because it's only one offered like once a year. So that's like the whole point of intent to apply. You can take some of this early if you have like 1 class left in your.
So those classes would be with the brass methods. You know, you'd be doing brass methods on a Monday, and then your intent to apply classes on the rest of it, basically.
Yeah, there's a few people in my educational technology class right now doing the intent to apply. So there's only certain classes you can take before entering the credential program.
511.
Yeah, which I mean, if you wanna do it that way, that's up to you. I think it's actually pretty smart if you have the room in your schedule, so you just lessen the workload when you're going into teaching. Any question?
Oh, yeah. So I know you guys went through exactly what classes you guys are taking right now, but how do you feel personally about the workload? Right now I'm kind of dying, but I want to know if you guys feel like you have, the time to creatively fulfill yourself, take those gigs that you're offered, write the music that you want, practice what you want, but then also you have to teach all that.
Well, as the first semester so far, we're not super far into the semester, but there was a lot of work the first 2 weeks, and now it seems to be like pacing out. And I still teach lessons, I still do a choir in Burbank, I'm still in the choir here. So yes, I do a lot of other things. I just wouldn't maybe like have a full-time job on top of it with the credential program. And if you're doing the year one, you can't even have like a job, they make you sign a contract. we will not be
Yeah.
working because it's gonna take away.
Okay, what were the rest of you guys?
As someone who's student teaching right now, I was a little worried going into the semester because I was like, oh man, it's gonna be classes plus student teaching, being out of school campus for several hours a day, and then after my student teaching day is done, I drive straight from there to here to do a 3-hour class. So during the day, it's a lot. You don't have a lot of free moments, but when you do, you just gotta manage your time. And by manage your time, I don't necessarily mean take every free second you have and work on something, because you're gonna just burn yourself out. I learned that the hard way. I used to think time management meant just working every second you had. It does not. What I have found is you have to schedule free time. And if you have like a gap, if you have like, because let's say like on Fridays, I student teach, but I don't have any classes at CSUN. So I have a little bit more extra time on Friday. Take some hours and do nothing. Like, don't be afraid to schedule time to do nothing. It will take a lot of pressure off of you, and you will work harder when you are being productive, when you are working on something, rather than just trying to work all the time. You won't be able to do your best work. So schedule time to do nothing. There's no shame in doing nothing. There's no shame in being lazy. You need to recharge yourself. And that's been helpful.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna write lesson plans, go to a coffee shop, get a coffee.
Yeah,
right?
make a day out of it.
You know, like make these activities not horrible for yourself.
Oh, yeah, fun, yeah.
Yeah.
I think to add on the financial side, if you're a little bit older, I've talked to some people, because from what I understand, you, like we said, you cannot work a full-time job when you're student teaching. When you're interning, you do get paid, but you're student teaching here, and the negatives like, you're paying the school, CSUN, to teach for free. I mean, it sounds bad, but the point is, I've talked to older people who are older than me, living on their own. They're taking out, there's grants, I'm pretty sure there's grants.
Yes.
And I'm also pretty sure you can take out a specific loan. Does that sound right? There's a man I met named Mr. Smiler, Jacob. He got like $10,000 on a grant. That's awesome. That was cool. And of course he saved. He knew he was going to do this for the year before, which is like, for me, I'm doing a 2-year program. So my first year, I plan to save, hopefully, to mitigate my losses when I student teach. But we have a question.
Oh, okay. So I have a few different questions. So you guys are describing the process, right? When would you actually be starting the process? Is that like the end of your senior year, like let's say spring semester?
Can
or
I
is that?
ask you specifically, like hypothetically, do you have an idea of when you would at least graduate from your undergraduate and want to start the credential program?
This would be like there'd be a master's involved, but
Okay, so I would say like, say you want to apply to the credential program for next semester, spring 26. Let's say that's what you want to do. I would start doing your TB, your live scan, your CPR stuff like now. So fall of the semester before, at the beginning of the semester before, that's when you want to start your application, when you want to start getting all your stuff going. Because like the application for fall, I mean for right now, for the spring, is due December 1st. So I would do everything at least 2 months beforehand to start. For like your appointments, for your certifications, do that. Give yourself a month, 2 months plus. And then the application, like the essay and the actual application stuff, I did that within the last couple of weeks. That you don't need to worry about as much because that's all within your control. But when you're dealing with certifications, with CTC for the live scan verification, you don't know how long they're going to take sometimes. So you want to get that out of the way a month, 2 months prior. So figure out, I would recommend to you, if you don't know exactly when you're going to start the credential program yet, figure out hypothetically when you would want to start, and I would start everything application-wise like 2-3 months even beforehand.
So the turnaround is a lot faster than like if you're applying to a university for undergrad, where it takes a year.
Yes, because like for me, I applied for the spring last year, and that application is due December 1st. You figure out you get in like December 15th, December 16th, and then you start classes in January. So it's just right away.
And then I was also gonna ask, I'm a little confused on the beginning of the application process. You're to specify for one subject. Would that subject be music?
Yes,
Or-
you put music.
Would you put music in elementary if you're doing general music in elementary schools?
If you're doing multiple subject, I'm not exactly sure how you would specify that, but I know that if you're doing a single subject, you would put music. You wouldn't put like orchestra, band, choir.
We
and that,
actually
you would put-
know someone in our class who is multiple subjects, so maybe we can like
You can talk to them.
Emily?
get,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Is
The
that I don't
only
know for sure.
person doing that.
It's like, what if hypothetically I wanted to teach music and math?
Yeah, that would be that.
Yeah,
also.
double credentialing, right?
You can also do like a single subject in one thing and the same
Yeah.
subject in another.
You have to
thing,
do
same program.
multiple loads of coursework
Well,
for each subject.
well,
but-
Well, actually, because I looked into that too, because I wanted to do music with different and a secondary credential. I think you can just test out of it because some of these classes, EPC 420, some of these generic non-music teaching credential classes are the same, if I understand correctly. 511, you're going to take for any
Any single subject,
credentialing
yeah.
teacher. So it's the specific music teaching classes that are going to be different. So like for me, the methods, yes. And if I was thinking of adding history. So either you take those classes, which adds time, or I think you can test out. You can do the subject matter requirement.
I know a little bit more on that. So if you want to teach two subjects, if it's not like multi-subject, you do your single subject credential, say music, and for example, I eventually want to teach health courses. I need to, it's called an added authorization. You need to take the methods course for the respective area. For health, for example, I need to take the science methods, and I need to pass the CSET for health. So if you want to teach math, you would need to take the methods course for math, and need to pass the CSET for math.
Just
Yeah, so it's both those things, and if you do want that added authorization, on the CSUN Credential website, there is a section where you can apply to add that authorization. So it's like, it's already in your coursework, and you're like, oh, I want that added authorization, look, I did these things. They're like, okay, cool, you are now legally allowed to teach that new subject as well. It's the same thing if you want to add an authorization to teach in Spanish, it's called BCLAC. You need to be in, but that one's different, you need to be in the bilingual program. But you would just contact that professor, and she would tell you to pass the CSET first, and that's when you're in the program. You can take the methods for Spanish or whatever language. I think they have Armenian as well.
Spanish, Korean.
Spanish, yeah.
And you don't have to do another TPA, right? You don't.
That I don't know for sure.
I don't believe so. So you need to take that methods course, and then like with the whatever respective studies, like for example, if you want to teach in Spanish, you need to take the Chicano studies. And that's simple, it's just the extra units, and you pass it. You kind of want extra units because your pay increases by how many units you do during the credential program. Because if you take a total of 45 extra units, your pay will get bumped by a couple thousand. If you get a master's, it gets bumped by a couple thousand. So take as many as possible to get a lot of added authorization.
And so we are out of time. We do officially lose the room at 8. So if you have questions and any of our wonderful panelists are willing to stick around after, you're more than welcome to go and ask. But this is the official end of it. So thank you to everyone for coming. Can we get a thank you to our 4 panelists real quick? And I forgot to mention, we have a check-in link there. It's also posted in our Discord channel. If you're not in that and you would like to be, come talk to me after. I can show you how to get in there. But it really helps to have people check in. It helps us know to tell people how many handouts to bring and things like that, just because we know who to expect.
Oh, like this, getting.